mission is to enhance business opportunities in West Los Angeles through referral, advocacy, and education. Referral, advocacy, and education. Those are the three pillars that pretty much support everything that we do in the chamber. So referral, for example, this is a networking breakfast. Our goal here for you is to help facilitate you making a new relationship with a like-minded business owner to help each other's business grow. Does that sound good? You guys want to help each other's business grow? Good, good. So we have lots of opportunities to do networking throughout the month. But advocacy. Advocacy, we are a chamber that is very passionate about making sure that our elected and appointed officials in the government understand the needs of the business community. And sometimes those needs are not necessarily articulated very clearly except through the Chamber of Commerce and the groups of businesses that come through the Chamber of Commerce. So we want to make sure our elected officials know what we need. Also, we want to provide a venue for our elected officials to communicate and hear from West Los Angeles business community. Hence, that's why we have a political speaker at most of our breakfasts, to make sure that we have that interaction with our elected officials. And of course, education is our third pillar. We believe very strongly that by providing educational opportunities for business owners in the chamber and in the West LA community, we can help grow a stronger business environment. So we have a lot of members who give free seminars and free workshops for fellow business owners in West LA, with lots of opportunities to learn different aspects of your business from our expert members. So, very excited about that. So, we are going to get started. So the first thing I want to do is we are going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'd like to invite our Board of Director, Chris. Come on up here. Chris Gray is going to start us off with the Pledge of Allegiance. So please rise.
Very good. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. You may be seated. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do this morning is we're going to start off with some announcements. Leah, do you want to come up here and tell us what some of our upcoming events are going to be? And then we're going to start right off. We have two breakfast sponsors this morning. So we're going to have our first breakfast sponsor, Allison, and we'll have you go before the first networking session. So Leah, if you want to come up here, and I don't know if anyone else coming up with you to tell us about our events?
Yeah, Barbara.
All right, Barbara. So Malia is the chairman of the Ambassador Committee. Thank you, Malia, for all your hard work. And Barbara is the chairwoman of the West Los Angeles Women's Network Committee. All right, take it away.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Rise and shine.
Rise and shine.
Yes, rise and shine. I want to announce, so our next event is going to be Networking at Noon. We have it on Friday the 18th. It is a luncheon. It's a very casual lunch, but we get to know each other. It's usually about 8 or 10 people, although lately there's been quite a few more. It's nice. We're driving a good crowd. The next networking event is going to be at Maria's. And Katrina Sheffield is going to be hosting.
All right.
Katrina, yay! Yes. And after that,
that will be November 15th. We have Katrina Sota speaking. It will be at the Highlands Realty on Pico Boulevard. I hope you guys can join us. We talk a little bit about, Katrina will talk about financial planning and getting ready for 2017. And we always have a great time. Last time we had wine tasting and I spoke a little bit and it was a lot of fun. It's a great way for women to feel comfortable, ask questions about how to grow their own business and have a support system. So I truly, truly recommend this for anyone new here who is a woman and you can change your dressing if you can come. Okay. November 15th at Halos.
and then TBD is our holiday mixer. Please keep an eye out, follow the website. We're planning to have a lovely holiday mixer for the holidays. It's going to be November, December, but it's going to be a really nice event. We're going to have wine and good food, so get a look up that.
assuming you all took notes, very diligent notes about all the upcoming events. But if for whatever reason you didn't have your pen ready or your smartphone ready, you can go to westLAChamber.org or just Google West LA Chamber and it'll come right up. Our events calendar is up to date. All of our upcoming events, we have something going on every single week of the month, pretty much every month. So lots of stuff going on. You can see how you can participate. And also, if we have a member who's doing a seminar or workshop that's available to the chamber members, then that will be on the calendar as well. So westlachamber.org, westlachamber.com, or just Google West Los Angeles Chamber. All right. So I think the first thing that we're going to do now, we are going, oh, by the way, Greg, are you here? Greg Martine, where did you go? Stand up. We introduced you. You weren't quite here yet, but this is our other breakfast sponsor, Greg Martine. Thank you for coming to breakfast.
Then we look at creating a career strategy or a job search strategy. Next, we talk about networking. Then interview preparation, and finally, what I call successful career conversations. And that's really what I work with people a lot on this time of year. Successful career conversations is all about helping people have that salary discussion, do a successful performance review, and give effective feedback. Those are the things that people have a lot of trouble with. So a lot of times I'm helping job seekers, but this time of year in particular, I'm helping a lot of people with their performance reviews, making sure that they're presenting themselves in the best possible light for their job search. And as most of us are business owners, we are always on a job search, right? We're always being interviewed. We're always trying to present ourselves in the best possible light. So I wanted to present a tool for you today to do that. And I'm so pleased that it's before the first round of table networking because you'll be able to test these tools today. So during interviews and during performance review discussions, I'm talking with people about an acronym called SOAR. And I've talked with the women's group a little bit about this. Does anybody remember what SOAR stands for? And it's SOAR like an eagle, not like a problem. Right? So who knows what SOAR stands for? Who remembers? Anyone? S is situation. Did you have them all?
No, I had the last one.
Okay, so S is situation, O is obstacle, A is action, and people always forget the fourth one. People say, oh, I was walking down the street, there was a tree branch in my way, so I moved the tree branch, now everyone applaud. What a great job I did. But the thing they forget is, why does that matter? What is the R?
Result.
Result. So situation, obstacle, action, and result. So when we're talking about our businesses, it can be a really, really valuable tool to use that format. So when you talk about your ideal customer and who your customer is, you're talking about who they are, what they need help with, and how you get them that help. Now Buzz has an amazing example. When he talks about his business, he always talks about, well, do people remember what Buzz does? What does Buzz's business do? It helps you what?
Website.
It does websites, but what are the results?
More guesses. To get, keep,
Hey, that's pretty good. Find, get, keep.
Yeah, find, get, and keep customers. So he has that tagline, but that tagline is all about results. So when we're talking to people about the results that we achieve, it helps them understand why they might want to use our businesses. So I would challenge you all today to go ahead and try to use that SOAR example and tell the story of a successful customer or something that your business does to help people understand how to find you the best customers. And I have one more thing that I want to share that is off the topic of my business as a career coach. I had an incident in my building on Sunday night and had such an amazing experience with the police and paramedic and fire department in the Palms West LA neighborhood. It was a scary situation, and this was an opportunity for me to say a thank you in front of a lot of people for how seamless the whole process was and how pleased and impressed I was with the results. So a big thank you to our uniformed officials that are here today and always. Again, my name is Allison Greedo. I'm a career coach, and like Councilman Bonin, I'm also from Massachusetts. We have a great Massachusetts representation today. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Great job, Allison. Any quick questions for Allison? Any quick questions? Do we have any questions from the group today?
Do you work with people, like I have friends who are retiring or they've been an engineer for 30 years and suddenly want to do something else. Do you work with the people going on to a second career at all?
I do. A lot of the people that come to me are 10 or 15 years in and they're saying, this is not what I want to do forever, and they're starting their second careers. But then I do have a large chunk of people who are saying that I'm kind of wrapping up my 9-to-5 life. And I want to do something, for the last 10 years that I'll be working. So a lot of those people are starting businesses, and a lot of them are just using their passions and the skills that they've developed to do something new. I have a person now who's moving up to Napa, and we're helping her make that transition to a new career in the wine industry.
Awesome. Any other questions?
I have a question.
So you heard SOAR, S-O-A-R. You'll actually be tested you'll be graded on your weekly presentation today. So you have to score B or higher and actually go on to the next round of table networking. So she forgot to mention that you will actually be graded in your implementation of SOAR today. So thank you for that, Allison. All right, thank you everybody. Thank you, Allison. All right, speaking of our law enforcement officials, I want to welcome Captain Daryl Ito. He is the CEO of the Western Patrol Division. Thank you very much today. It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce our guest speaker today. Councilmember Mike Bonin represents the 11th District on the LA City Council, that is basically West Los Angeles. So Mike graduated from Harvard, he's a Harvard boy, university in 1989 with a bachelor's in U.S. history. He was a newspaper reporter for a while. He has done quite a few things and been very actively involved in the West Los Angeles community for many, many years. So he has worked on behalf of the Westside neighborhood since 1996, working in senior positions for Councilmember Bill Rosenthal, Congresswoman Jane Harmon, Councilwoman Ruth Gallagher. Mike also served as a regional field organizer in California for Barack Obama's 2008 presidential campaign. So he took office in July of 2003 in one of the largest landslides in LA City Council history, and has been serving on the West Los Angeles ever since. So he's the chair of the Council's Transportation Committee, a member of the board of directors of the LA City Metropolitan Transportation Authority, and vice chair of the Metro Expo Line Construction Authority. He also, in addition to his transportation stuff, Mike also is vice chair of the Council's Committee on Trade, Commerce, and Tourism, which oversees LAX. And he's also serves on the Council's Homelessness and Poverty Committee, Budget Finance Committee, and Public Safety Committee. So, we would like to give a very warm West Los Angeles Chamber welcome to Councilmember Mike Bonin.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the intro. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for keeping that brief. Sometimes they read like the whole full 2-page bio and close the hell out of me. Will I kill the cameraman if I get down on the ground? Sure. That's okay? No it just feels weird being up there when you're all down here. So thanks for having me this morning. I really appreciate having a few moments of your time. I wanted to use this opportunity, and I'll do as much Q&A as possible. I'll try to be brief, which is usually what I say before I go on to thank you, and then to ask for your help with a couple things. First of all, the thank you is, we just had a report at the LA City Council from an organization called Beacon Economics. And they came in and they do an annual report for the LA Area Chamber. And they tell us how the city is doing economically. And the city is actually, our economy is turning around. Things are beginning to get a lot better. And part of the reason for that is because of this part of the city, because of the West Side. This district, the 11th district, which is everything west of the 405, which includes most of this chamber's area, is leading in job growth in the city of Los Angeles. This is the #1 part of the city for job growth. In 13 different categories of employment, this district is ahead of the city average in 12 of them. And that is a really big deal. Income is growing at a faster rate here than in other parts of the city. It is the West Side that is really driving the economic recovery in Los Angeles. And that isn't because, frankly, of anything the city of Los Angeles is doing. It's because of what you, the business owners and the job creators, are actually doing. So I want to thank you for that. As an aside to that thank you, I want to let you know that the city is actually working very hard to try to improve its reputation as having been unfriendly to business for a number of years. We are in the middle of a multi-year reduction in the gross receipts tax for the city of Los Angeles. And it's something that I personally hope to continue, and I want us to get to a point where we eliminate the gross receipts tax. And when I campaigned, I said I didn't think the gross receipts tax was a smart way to do business or raise revenue. We can't eliminate it entirely overnight because it is a huge chunk of the city budget, but we're phasing it out and reducing it year by year in the hopes that the additional economic activity that is created by reducing the gross receipts tax will more than match the lost revenue from it. But that's something that we're going to continue to be phasing out over the next couple of years. The City Council also just last week approved a whole new package of job creation and business-friendly incentives in the city of Los Angeles. It's part of a multi-layered strategy. We're going to be creating a streamlining of red tape to get permits. The length of time it can take a restaurant to open in the city of Los Angeles is embarrassing and ridiculous. And there's a number of different initiatives in there that the city is going to be implementing over the next couple of years that will hopefully make it a lot easier to do business in the city of Los Angeles. But I did say that I wanted to ask for your help on a couple of things. And I'm actually saying that to every single person, every single property owner, every single business, every single resident of the city of Los Angeles and of the county of Los Angeles that I'm meeting between now and November 8th. I know that this is an election that I think there is such an appetite for this election to end. I have never seen this sort of sentiment before. And I'm as eager for it to end as I possibly can too. But there's a few things on the ballot that don't get as much attention because the presidential race tends to be drawing all the attention, that are vital to the city of Los Angeles, that are vital to our region. And on the ballot, there is an opportunity to make significant progress on both of those, sort of a once in a lifetime way. One of those is traffic, and the other is policy. Both of them are near the end of the ballot. Let me start with traffic first. Measure M. On my ballot, it was the 29th thing I had an opportunity to vote for. The homelessness one was the 32nd thing I had an opportunity to vote for. Measure M is a countywide initiative that is called the Los Angeles County Traffic Improvement Program. It's something that I helped put together as a member of the board of directors of LA Metro. We're the regional transportation agency for the entire county. The mayor sits on it, he gets 3 other appointees, and one of his appointees on it. And what it does, Measure M, is approved by the board. It is a half-cent sales tax extension that goes on for, doesn't sunset. And it is an ongoing, continued source of revenue for mass transit in Los Angeles, with finite projects and plans attached to it. It builds on Measure R. In 2008, voters approved Measure R, and as a result of Measure R, we were allowed to and have successfully built the Expo Line. We were allowed to start work on the regional connector downtown, which is connecting all of our rail lines. So you'll be able to go from the Expo Line to the far end of the Gold Line, one ticket, one seat, no transfer. We extended the Gold Line east. We are building, right now, there's a tunnel boring machine going down Crenshaw towards LAX, the Crenshaw line, and we're also continuing to build the Wilshire subway. 5 major projects that get funded by Measure R. Measure M would extend and expand that so that we can actually build an entire transportation network in Los Angeles. It would do a number of things, one of which is if we build out all of the Measure M projects, and there's dozens of them, we would reduce the time we get stuck in traffic by about 15%. We would also create about 465,000 jobs. And cities would get millions of dollars every year, 17% of the revenue rating, to fix intersections and streets and roads. In the first year that Measure M would go into effect, the city of Los Angeles would receive $53 million to use on repaving our roads and fixing our intersections and making traffic flow more smoothly there. It would also give us the opportunity to keep fares low for seniors, students, and the disabled. A couple of the projects that get included in this are really, really game-changing. The one project that I pushed most heavily for would be a mass transit line from LAX up through the Slaughter Pass into the San Fernando Valley up to Van Nuys. Right now, one of the biggest causes of traffic in Los Angeles is the backup on the 405. A huge amount of that is connected to LAX. Both north and south of the airport, one of the biggest draws of traffic there is LAX. And as we all know, when the 405 gets jammed up, Sepulveda gets jammed up. And when Sepulveda gets jammed up, so does Sawtelle, and so does Overland. And it has a ripple effect right now down into our neighborhoods. This is one of the biggest game-changing projects we could have in Los Angeles. It also provides for bus rapid transit from Lincoln Boulevard, from Santa Monica's Expo Station, down to LAX. It would take the Crenshaw line, which is currently going to connect to LAX and go up to the Crenshaw area and extend it all the way out to Hollywood and West Hollywood. It would create a mass transit line, a couple of mass transit lines in the San Fernando Valley. It also has a lot of money in there for clean freight and for goods movement to make it easier for cargo to get around Los Angeles. It is a profound visionary thing that will have a huge impact on our neighborhoods. We right now spend an incredible amount of our time, each and every one of us, stuck in traffic. And part of that is because Los Angeles has, for decades, had a system which effectively prioritizes only the single occupancy automobile. And we do not have an effective system of mass transit here in Los Angeles. There's a lot of folks in Los Angeles who may never use mass transit. There are millions of people in Los Angeles who have no choice but to use mass transit because they are transit dependent, they can't afford a vehicle. And then there's a whole new generation here in Los Angeles that is eager and is hungry to use mass transit. I can't remember the last time I had a conversation with someone under the age of 30 who was telling me they were eager to have a car. They all are clamoring to have a transportation system so they can live close to a transit stop and they can go to work. And it's about building the future in Los Angeles. And this is something that is really for the next generation, and something that gives us an opportunity to choose whether we want to be stuck in gridlock or do we want to take an alternative. I've got tons of folks from Mar Vista who hop on the Expo line every single day because it's easier for them to get to work. I have a number of folks from Palisades and Brentwood in my district who use the Expo line to go downtown for a show or a concert. They don't have to pay for parking when they get there, and it saves them a lot of time and a lot of frustration. The evidence that Los Angeles is hungry for this kind of stuff is Phase 2 of the Expo line. Phase 2 of the Expo line has been one of the most phenomenal transit projects in the country. Right now, Phase 2, the Expo line, is at 70% of the capacity that we expected it would have in the year 2030. In 6 months, 70% of what we thought we would be at in 2030. About 60 or 70% of the people who are riding it are first-time users of mass transit in Los Angeles. First time they've ever used the metro system. 40% of the people who are riding on the Expo line used to ride in a single occupancy vehicle to work, and they're using it to commute. People are also using it to play. The number of passengers on the Expo line on Sundays has doubled from when it only went to Culver City. People are using it as a way to get to and from Santa Monica and to the beach. And this is really about the future of Los Angeles. The second thing I wanted to mention was Proposition HHH, which is about homelessness here in Los Angeles. If you came here today, if you do business around here, if you own property around here, or really if you spend any time on the west side of Los Angeles, you cannot ignore, and you certainly can't be oblivious to the fact that homelessness is a crisis here in Los Angeles. Not just on the west side. It used to be a problem in Skid Row, in Hollywood, and in Venice. It's now a problem, a visible problem, in every part of Los Angeles. Whether it's Canoga Park, or San Pedro, or East Los Angeles, or Leimert Park, or Westchester, or Pacific Palisades. Los Angeles has a homeless crisis, and we can see encampments on our streets everywhere we go. Just east of the 405 here, we've had an enormous encampment, and that is happening everywhere. Over the past few years, homelessness has increased dramatically in Los Angeles for a number of different reasons, but it has increased dramatically. And the percentage of encampments that we have on our sidewalks, in some places in my district, outside of people's homes, outside of kids' schools, has gone up nearly 100%. We've got 4,000 people living in their vehicles in the city of Los Angeles. And homelessness is not one thing. Homelessness is many things. And 1/3 of the people who are living on our streets now are women. And 1/3 of them are victims of domestic violence. 30% of the people who are victims of domestic violence in Los Angeles are going to become homeless. They're going to wind up on the streets. We have teenage runaways on our streets who are fleeing from physical abuse or sexual abuse. We have veterans who have been effectively abandoned by this country and by society after giving their all for us, who are living on the streets, and in some cases have been for generations. We have people who are suffering from mental illness or from addiction who've just been left to suffer. Each of those different situations, and those are just a few of them, requires a different strategy to get someone to turn their lives around and to get them off the street. But there's a common denominator in all of those strategies. Common denominator in all of those strategies is we need housing. We're not going to solve homelessness by wishful thinking. We're not going to solve homelessness by magic. We're not going to solve homelessness by pointing fingers at other levels of government or other people. And we're not going to solve homelessness the way the city of Los Angeles has tried to do it for 10 years, which is by calling 911 and asking the LAPD to manage the problem. That is not going to solve homelessness. But housing is. And so Measure HHH, or Proposition HHH, which is on the city ballot only, it's the city only, would allow the city to issue $1.2 billion in bonds over the next 10 or 20 years in order to build about 10,000 units of housing for people who are homeless or on the verge of homelessness. Now, our homeless population is much bigger than 10,000 people, and so some folks have asked, well, why only 10,000 units? Not every person who's homeless needs one of these units of housing. As I said, there's various different strategies. There's a lot of folks who can be helped with a 3-month rental subsidy, which the city of Los Angeles called rapid rehousing, which the city and the county have started doing. They can be helped much more easily. Most of the units from this $10,000 will be spent on permanent supportive housing for the chronically homeless, those who need wraparound services, job counseling, medical services, psychological or healthcare services built into where they live. It is a model for ending homelessness, which is the most successful in the nation. It has a 90% plus success rate in getting people off the streets permanently. We are pursuing this in Los Angeles because nationally we have seen this is the way to solve the problem of chronic homelessness. We also know that it is actually cheaper to build permanent supportive housing, which isn't the cheapest form of housing around. It's cheaper to build permanent supportive housing and provide it for people than it is to not do so. Right now, every year in the city of Los Angeles, we spend hundreds of millions of dollars managing homelessness and not solving it. That is the sanitation crews that go out and clean up encampments. That's the time LAPD or LAFD and our paramedics spend responding to service people who are in distress living on the streets or problems in the neighborhoods as a result of encampments. That's the time that our librarians spend effectively acting as case managers and social service workers. It's all of these resources in the city, money that is being squandered that could be used on hiring more cops or firefighters, or on providing more services or trimming more trees. It also turns out that it costs more money that we pay not out of the city treasury, but out of the county treasury. The county's paying for all the emergency health care and all the other expenses that they incur. So it's a significant financial incentive for us to invest in housing and get folks off the streets. Both of these measures, Measure M and Proposition HHH, require approval of 2/3 of the electorate. Now, the polling shows that we're right at about 2/3 on these. Right at about 2/3. And every time we ask the question, it shows 69, 70, 71% or so. But we don't feel confident. We feel concerned because it is a very, very long ballot. And there's a phenomenon called ballot drop-off, where folks don't make it to the bottom of the ballot. They sort of tune out around the judges. And then when you see 12, 13 state measures, you may not make it to the bottom. So my advice to everybody is bottoms up. Start at the end of the ballot, where the local things are that matter to your neighborhoods. And that's where you will find Proposition HHH, and that's where you'll find Measure M. I guarantee you, if you still have tolerance for the presidential race, you will be able to make it at the beginning of the ballot. But start at the bottom, because that's where you'll see an actual difference in your neighborhoods and in quality of life in Los Angeles. Happy to take as many questions.
My senator tagline for you, Mike Bonin, says, bottoms up.
Bottoms up. I have an editorial in the Argonaut this week that says, if you want to make a significant change in Los Angeles, think bottoms up.
All right, Mike.
Yes.
Hi, Mike. Welcome. Wanted to ask, so Westside is, our incomes are rising, and so are the rents, and the affordable housing is based on prevailing rate in a certain neighborhood. So in Santa Monica, affordable housing might be $1,800 for one bedroom, which is not affordable for most people. Is there a way to do a citywide, figure out what poverty level is and determine reasonable rents or affordable housing based citywide rather than on these localities? That might be a way to make some of this affordable housing affordable for people that live on the West Side.
Well, according to sort of federal law, because federal money comes into play for most affordable housing, it's all sort of put together through pots of money from a variety of sources. According to federal law, the way you come up with the income qualifications is based on a certain percentage of the average median income for the county. So while in this part of town, the numbers are really high, and because of the huge wage inequality in Los Angeles, the numbers are very low elsewhere. So an example of how it would work is building housing of any sort is really expensive in this part of town. But we need to be building affordable housing everywhere, and we need to be solving the homelessness problem everywhere, because people are becoming homeless everywhere. So how do you do that in this part of town where land is so expensive? Well, the city and the county used to not work together particularly well on homelessness for generations. Over the past year and a half, the mayor and I and a couple of my colleagues, and Sheila Kuehl and Mark Ridley Thomas in the county, came up with a comprehensive strategy, hand in glove, seamless. The two agencies are working together. 60 elements to the strategy. A core element of the strategy is that government, the county and the city, should be using its property that the city or the county or government agencies own that is vacant or surplus or underused, and use that to be the land that housing can be built on. That means you take out the land costs. City maintains ownership of the land. We do a 99-year ground lease. And it takes that out of the equation and makes it possible. So Sheila Kuehl and I have a property, a closed bus yard in Venice, that is going to be used for affordable housing. And Metro's policy is that 35% of the units in their portfolio on Metro property has to be affordable. And that's determined as 35% of the average median income in Los Angeles, which would mean about $30,000 a year. It's a long answer to a short
The
one.
city council's law tents and encampments is helping a lot. Thank you.
Okay, good. Yes,
If
ma'am.
you see 3rd Street Promenade, you get the big stores, the big chains. If you go on Abercrombie, I mean, the rents are so absolutely outrageous for a small business owner that we all pretty soon are going into, like barrister or something. We have to because we can't afford it anymore as a small business. That cannot be really what Los Angeles wants to do, because small businesses are going away and you have only chains, and it's getting boring. Because a boutique, which has this really great thing, I don't know how they make it. I mean, I see right now, like, it's just being changed, and it really changed the whole look of Santa Monica, Venice, Brentwood, because no one can afford this anymore. I mean, you see the business coming and going and coming and going, and restaurant coming and going because rents are $40,000. I'm like, how the heck do you do this on French fries? I just don't know.
Yeah.
It's something really, as a Angelino here, Weston, you can't afford this stuff anymore. And we don't make so much money. Small business.
I agree with you that the rents for businesses are ridiculously high. The example she used, for those who couldn't hear it, was Abercrombie. There have been a couple of primarily Europeans who have come in and bought up the property and really jacked up the rents and have forced a lot of the small businesses out. Now, some of them are relocated to Mar Vista or Culver City or Mid-City or other parts. But the one thing government can't do is regulate how much someone can sell their property for. So, the most we can do is make it easier to do business in Los Angeles and try to come up with incentives, but we can't force someone to sell their property for less than they can get at the market. Yes, sir. And then over here.
Just a question regarding building and housing.
Yeah.
How will this be different than I'm from Chicago originally, then Cabrini Green or Taylor Housing that were just a disaster and horrible ghettos. How can this be different? How can we make a change?
A couple of different ways. One is one way you can do things is have scattered site housing so that buildings are mixed income. You have some market, some workforce, some lower, ultra-low income, all in the same building. It also depends on how you do projects. I have a couple of proposed projects in Venice that I'm getting a lot of pushback on. And so I got a bus, and I took a bunch of folks, constituents, on a tour of projects in Del Rey. Del Rey is a neighborhood, even folks who live in Del Rey don't know where Del Rey is. It's in between south of Mar Vista, east of the marina, north of Playa Vista, and east of Culver City. And one of the things we're trying to do is brand Del Rey more. The Del Rey Neighborhood Council's biggest problem is reminding folks who live there that they don't live in Culver City or the marina or Mar Vista, they live in Del Rey. But Del Rey is a community that has, over the past 4 or 5 years, accepted a number of low-income or formerly homeless projects. And one of them is 20-something units of permanent supportive housing run by St. Joseph Center and Venice Community Housing. Another is 20-something units run by people assisting the homeless. Another is 130 units of low-income senior housing that has 30 formerly homeless residents in it. The rest is people who were not formerly homeless. That's run by Tom Saffron, an affordable housing developer from Brentwood. And then there is a converted motel that is about 20 units of transitional housing for homeless women and their children. And one, we found on this tour that we asked folks on the bus to try to pick, before we told them, which building was the affordable or homeless housing. And they couldn't. Because if you have design standards so things blend in, and if you have good management, you don't have those kind of problems. And the way things are run and managed now, the United Way has created a system, coordinated entry throughout Los Angeles, getting all the agencies to work together in a consortium. We haven't really been having those problems. In fact, the folks from Del Rey, who said yes to all these projects, say that these projects have improved the neighborhoods, particularly the motel, which was, you know, a not particularly nice motel, which now blends into the neighborhood. It's across the street from El Pollo Loco. When I told folks about this, I said, there is homeless housing in your neighborhood. And they said, no, there's not. And I said, yes, there is. It's right across the street from El Pollo Loco. And it's just, they weren't aware of it because it blends in so well. So managing things well, designing things well, and also doing scattered site and mixed income is very helpful. Yes?
You mentioned earlier that the Westside is one of the driving forces behind the economic upturn. Yeah. But at the same time, it just seems like whenever the city wants something, they come to the Westside. And for instance, parking. You guys take our parking money from the meters for the general fund. Even the city started on-demand parking in the village, which turned out to be a disaster. But it's been like a windfall for the city. Hasn't helped with parking, but the city gets this tremendous money from that, but it doesn't come back to Westwood, it doesn't come back to the Westside to help us in any way.
I think you diagnosed the problem fairly well.
But the other thing is, like, we can't get our trees trimmed, even though we're paying a tremendous amount of property tax. We can't get a beat officer in the village, even though we're paying way more than other parts of the LA. It seems like every time the city wants something, they come to the Westside and just take our money. It's not really fair.
Well, I think you partially diagnosed that problem correctly. I think you misdiagnosed it when you implied that the Westside is being picked on. You know, the same issue has happened with parking revenue around the city. It's happened downtown. The revenue from Hollywood, it all goes into one parking revenue fund. And since before I took office, the city has been rating it. I have actually been leading the charge. I have a 6-point parking reform initiative that is making its way with the mayor's support through the system, and it does a number of things. One, it prevents the rating of the special parking revenue fund. It probably takes a couple of years to step it down into nothing so that it doesn't get rated. But it also begins to keep the money, not just in the special parking revenue fund to be spent anywhere in the city, but in the neighborhoods where the revenue comes from. So if you have parking in Venice, or you're parking here, you're parking in Brentwood Village, that's where the revenue should be spent for tree trimming and stuff like that. In terms of the city doesn't do enough tree trimming, you're absolutely right. And one of the reasons we don't do enough is because our budget priorities have been out of whack. And one of the ways they're out of whack is we're spending hundreds of millions of dollars every year dealing with homelessness without solving it. So part of the way we get more money back into the budget for vital services, police, fire, street resurfacing, is by providing housing, so we're no longer draining the treasury on services that aren't benefiting the neighborhood. Yes?
Back to affordable housing. There are quite a few rent control buildings that have, within the city, that have illegal units that are often being shut down by inspections, right? The SCP inspections, etc. Yeah. Is there talk, as part of your housing plan and affordability, there has been talk, right, to take those illegal units and turn them into affordable units that we could put out? So that's question number one, if there's any update on that, or maybe where you stand on it. And question two is in regards to the affordable housing that's currently in place. Maybe it's a density program, you know, with new construction, whether it be in Santa Monica or Hollywood. Is there a plan? Because as an operator, we do see folks abuse that program. So you put something in place for people that need it, then you have someone that will rent it, somehow get qualified for it, and then they're running an Airbnb program. And as an operator, sometimes our hands are tied and trying to reprimand those people in a quick fashion.
So I'm the author, along with Herb Wesson, of legislation to regulate Airbnb throughout Los Angeles. We're trying to draw a distinction between good short-term rentals, those where someone is genuinely helping make their ends meet and make their mortgage payment by renting a bedroom or occasionally their apartment, versus bad short-term rentals, which is when someone comes in, buys a whole building, evicts everybody, and turns it into a room hotel, or when folks illegally sublet their places and are making revenue and the landlord isn't. So essentially the rules we proposed would allow short-term rentals only in someone's primary residence and not in rent-controlled units, because that's taking an affordable unit and making it not affordable by having higher rents. One of the other things that we're looking to do in Ocean Park Community Center in Santa Monica, the homeless program, is sort of a phenomenal leader in this, is we've had situations where, as a result of a city approval, we mandate someone build some units of affordable housing. And often what we find, we get complaints that it's not being used really as affordable housing. Someone has wound up renting it out to their niece who's in college and is a barista. She meets the income requirements, but it's really not what the unit was meant for. And one way to make required units from a density bonus or otherwise work better is if we make it possible for landlords to work with agencies like OPCC and do master leasing. Right now, we're asking folks who are not in the affordable housing business to manage affordable housing. We're asking them to recruit tenants. We're asking them to deal with all the paperwork. What OPCC has done is John Masseri, who runs the organization, went out and he leased a bunch of units, not in one building, a bunch of different units, and he effectively is sort of the landlord surrogate. He recruits the tenant, he manages the services, he makes the payment, particularly gap payment, and it makes things a lot easier for everybody. The county is actually using healthcare money to do the same thing. It's called Housing for Health, and they're finding in the county they're making it easier for landlords to accept people who are formerly homeless with vouchers because they're cutting the red tape and they are dealing with management issues. But the county is also saving money from the healthcare system because they're housing people rather than repeatedly treating them in emergency rooms.
That's all the time we have.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Councilmember. We really appreciate you being here. By the way, let me ask you one quick question. Where can we find out more information about the projects that are earmarked for Measure M?
Okay, there's an easier way to do this. I was going to try to give you the Yes on M website, but I don't remember it. I have a committee that I'm using to promote Measure M and Triple H. It's Los Angeles Forward. You can go to losangelesforward.com and we'll have information on both with a link to M and the project.
Thank you very much. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the close of our meeting today. So we are very, again, excited to have you here. We do ask that you invite your colleagues and fellow business owners and things like that. By the way, please keep your seats. There will be time to chat later. We do ask you to invite your colleagues and fellow business owners that you know that could benefit from growing relationships through the West Los Angeles Chamber. So I'm Buzz Park. It's been my pleasure to be your host today. I am in the marketing consultation business. Basically, if you are a local Los Angeles business and you would like to use the internet to 10x your business, come talk to me. I can show you how to do that affordably and strategically. So I always like to end with a quote, and our motivational quote today comes from the very well-known Dale Carnegie. Take a chance. All life is a chance. The man who goes farthest is generally the one who is willing to do and dare. So my charge to you, West Los Angeles businesses, go out, do and dare, take a chance and be successful, and we will see you at our next West LA meeting. Thank you very much.